You learned Chinese history during this entire semester. So, what's the most interesting topic that you've learned so far?
The most interesting topic, I think, is Confucianism. I like the ideals of Confucius about not being too powerful about spreading your wealth, and that your wealth should be attained honorably. One thing I noticed about Confucianism is that it is remarkably similar to communism. Like, let me look at my list of quotes right here. Yeah, alright, here's one. The head of the Ji family was richer than a king, and yet Confucius' former student, Ran Q, kept pressuring peasants to pay the Ji family more taxes and make them even richer. The master said, "This man Ran Q is no disciple of mine. Your students have my permission to beat the drum and attack him." Now, as Karl Marx said in the Communist Manifesto, when communism comes about, the proletariat are going to rise up against the bourgeoisie, and they are going to attack them and establish a communist regime. Which this is very similar to the Ji family, because Confucius is telling his former students to attack the Ji family and to take their money, basically.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to what communism is like. Another one is if wealth were an acceptable goal, I would seek it like everybody else, even if I had to work as a street sweeper. But if it is not an honorable goal, I'll prefer poverty. This one's not so much communism, but it's much more anti-capitalist. Because in a capitalist, if you're a capitalist, you don't want to be poor. You want to be very rich, you want to have as much money as you can, you want to hoard your money. So Confucius seems to be against capitalism.
Right.
I noticed this in a lot of his wealth quotes. He's against capitalism, but he's pro-communism. So with that in mind, I think that Confucius, he would be very much for what the Chinese Communist Party. I think he would approve of what Mao did during the 1940s and 50s. Because Mao, I think he followed Confucius very well. He tried to redistribute wealth and land. Let's see. Yeah, he tried to redistribute wealth and land. He followed Confucius very well. He distributed money honorably. I think that Confucius was very much approve of Mao and what he did. Mao made reforms to make people more equal. Mao followed rights. He tried educating the peasants with the pinyin system and simplifying the characters. Mao was the leader of the people, and Confucius was a scholar of the people, so I think that the two would get along very well. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question. Since you compared the capitalism and communism with this Confucianism, but can Confucianism can also be compared to socialism?
I think that Confucianism and socialism would be similar. I do think that Confucianism is actually closer to socialism, because Confucius never outright said that he's against rich people. Like in communism, you're absolutely against rich people. There should not be rich people in the communist society. But in a socialist society, there can be rich people. It's fine. It's just that they're not so rich. You take some of their wealth and you distribute it to the poor. I think Confucius would be more leaning towards socialism. I think that he would still approve of Mao, though. Because Mao, he redistributed the land and the wealth of Chinese society.
Yeah, and yes, indeed, what Mao did was really right, except some of the campaigns, such as the Great Leap Forward and even like the Great Famine that happened.
The Great Leap Forward, I think that he was trying to do good, but I also think that was partly the peasants' fault. Because the peasants kept reporting false numbers about the grain, and so the government was basing it off of that. They were basing the amount of grain that they took off the false numbers. So like let's say I had $200, but in fact I only have $100. You want to borrow money, so you ask for $150, but I don't have $150. That's sort of the exact same thing that was going on there with the Great Leap Forward. So Mao realized that and he tried to fix it, but by then I think it was just too late.
Yeah, probably like did he not notice until like pretty much like the very end of the campaign that what he did was also partly wrong and so forth.
Mao did do some bad things. I agree with that, but I think he did more good than bad. He got China on the route to recovery. He got them going again. Um, I think Mao was a great leader, and I think they followed the Confucian ideals very well.
Um, what's, by comparing Confucianism with Buddhism and Taoism, these three are the three main religions of China, right?
Yeah.
And well, if you take Taoism, I know there's a slight difference with Confucian with Taoism, but what's the major difference between these two religions?
Differences between Confucianism and Taoism, what you're asking?
Yes.
Confucianism is much more. It's much more telling you what sort of a person you should be. Like, it's all about the rights and stuff that you should do, about not being too rich, about being an honorable person, basically. Whereas Taoism's more of a status quo type of philosophy. You go with it, you do what it is. It's a good luck, bad luck, who knows sort of thing. Like the horse story that we learned about.
Yeah, that's right.
So, that's the main difference between Confucianism and Taoism, I would say.
Then how about Confucianism with Buddhism?
Buddhism is an actual religion. It tells you what happens in the afterlife. It tells you about reincarnation and all of that sort of stuff. Whereas Confucianism is much more concerned with the present. It's much more concerned with making the world that we live in now beautiful, as compared to what are we going to do in the afterlife. With Buddhism attaining nirvana, actually learning everything that there is to learn. Confucianism is more about just being a good person, being an honorable person, doing what's right while you're here on the earth, instead of focusing on getting to the afterlife like Buddhism.
Alright. So yeah, I understand pretty much most of the Confucianism. And is there anything else interesting about Confucianism?
I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to say about Buddhism, Confucianism.
Yeah, alright, I see.
So. Alright, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for reviewing me, Tay.
So okay.